should have paid us enough to fucking live. You know, we may not get paid enough to fucking live, but these bitches dirt cheap. All you had to do was pay us enough to live. All you had to do was pay us enough to fucking live.
Wow.
All you had to do was pay us enough to live.
Hey, yo. Hey, yo. Hold on. Hold on, you guys. This shit is crazy. This shit is crazy. What the hell did I just see?
And accused of causing that massive warehouse fire in Ontario this week, now facing additional charges.
Yeah, these new charges are on a federal level. Rachel Aragon is live outside the courthouse in Rancho Cucamonga, where those charges were just announced. We actually learned a lot at this press conference, Rachel.
Yeah, we really did. In fact, we'll unpack that shortly. But now we're also learning the man accused of setting that massive fire at that warehouse in Ontario is expected to have his first court appearance. But we're hearing right now, you guys, that could be...
Bro, did you see the size of this warehouse? What the hell?
Several more hours until he makes it to that courthouse. In the meantime, though, check out this picture right here. This is a brand new mugshot we just received this morning of the man suspected of arson. This is right here is 29-year-old Highland resident Kamal Abdul Kareem. Again, police confirming he's the employee of NFI Industries, which is a third-party distributor company of Kimberly-Clark. We'll take a look at the video right here. We've been showing it throughout the week. This is video now of that massive 6-alarm fire at the Kimberly-Clark Distribution Center, drawing in about 175 firefighters. Well, officials this morning announcing a new federal charge. This one arson related as well. And court documents also say when police searched him, they say an officer found a lighter on him.
Bro, one man did
fire,
this?
according to the criminal complaint, causing about $500 million.
They found a lighter on him. So you're telling me one man did this? Did they mention the square foot? What the hell? What the
worth of damage. Well, shortly at the fire, take a look at this video right here as well. This video had been spreading on social media of what appears to be someone starting a fire inside a warehouse. Well, just about 30 minutes ago, we heard from a police and attorneys confirming today that they believe this video to be filmed by the suspect himself. Police say he also vented to witnesses over phone and text messages about his crimes, as well as his frustration with his employer and over his pay. We'll hear federal officials talking about the concerns over the suspect. They say they are...
Wait, is this like a paper towel, like a paper type of warehouse factory? I gotta look into this, but one man could do this type of damage and destruction and destroy an entire warehouse with a lighter? What the fuck?
Tired of seeing people resort to violence to attack capitalism and other issues. And they said the suspect right here, you're about to see again, compared himself to Luigi Mangione. Again, the man who allegedly killed the...
Hold on, I'm not making that comparison. I do not condone, I do not support this. You know, I'm going to let it finish, pardon me, but I had a feeling that people would try to make a tie between this and Luigi. Do not tie this. You can call this an attack on capitalism, if you will. And, you know, again, I do not condone what he did. Corporations need to understand that there's some sort of disconnect between those atop these corporations and, you know, the men and women that make the business run, you know, that keep things moving. When I say disconnect, it's almost like some individuals are just completely out of touch with reality. Like, y'all have so much goddamn money that you just can't fathom the fact that someone, for example, this gentleman, could be so disgruntled, so just freaking over it, to the point where he's gonna just set this bitch on fire. You know what I mean? I do not condone it, but something has to be done, because if you look at a chart, and you just look at a chart where you'll have on one axis, the scale will be about, you know, the wage, and the bottom axis will be time, or the year, right? Bro, the cost of living, and this is in California, Ontario, California, one of the highest cost of living places in the country, right? I gotta look it up, but I'm pretty sure New York is up there as well. But what do you expect? Something has to be done, because this can only just continue. I do not want it to continue. I'm not condoning this. I think he was wrong for this. He made a statement. He ruined his life. He's gonna be in the feds. I'm pretty sure it says right there, facing federal charges, right? But then you got to consider the other people that work there. You're affecting their livelihood as well. right? Yeah, you made the news. Everybody in the country knows what you did. You destroyed an entire warehouse, buddy. But you also destroyed your life. You'll never work again. You'll probably be in the feds for a very long time. But again, something has to be done. And I just don't believe that this was the avenue that he should have taken to let his voice be heard. But sometimes people would argue in the course of history, the only time your voice is heard is through action, and oftentimes it's violence, right? That's why you see protests. That's why people raise their voice, you know, because that's the only way that your voice is heard, when you take action. But this is not the right action to take at all whatsoever.
United Healthcare CEO worker.
It's like a
Take
paper
listen.
factory.
In a phone call to one witness, the defendant compared himself to Luigi Mangione, the accused murderer of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. Look, America is founded on free enterprise and capitalism. There is an extremely disturbing trend where people are resorting to violence to communicate political messages or economic messages. I don't know if this guy saw himself as a Luigi, but he's an arsonist. He's a criminal.
And Jenna, Roxy, as you mentioned, we learned a lot actually from this press conference. One thing we learned, that allegedly he said at least 6 fires. They're still looking into it. That number, they said, could grow. We also asked the officials if this man had any kind of criminal history. As of right now, they said they're not aware of any kind of criminal background. But so much to unpack here. The other thing they really focused on was the social media videos that we just saw. According to the complaint, the suspect allegedly posted the video that he shot on his Instagram story. That video...
Bro, did he want to get caught? Like, you can't do something like this and videotape it. Like, did he live stream it? Like, he videotaped it. He did a voiceover. He said, all you had to do was fucking pay us. Like, it's like he wanted to get caught. You know, that kind of brings up something kind of dark. It kind of brings up something kind of dark. And it damn near means that something really, really has to be done. This could happen again. Something has to be done, because look at this man. Look at this man. Look at him. He's over it, bro. He's over it. He's just so over it. It's like, again, to touch on what I mentioned earlier with these, not oligarchs, but people who just have so much goddamn money that they can't fathom. They can't relate to somebody that's working 40 hours a week. You know, there's people out there that work 40, 44, 50 hours a week, and they're just getting by. Imagine that. You're working 40 plus hours a week, living paycheck to paycheck still. And these men and women are not living above their means, right? It's like, think about this for a second. If you commute to work, that means you live somewhere and you drive to your work. So for instance, let's say you drive 45 minutes to work. There are people that can't afford to live 45 minutes away from where they earn their money at work. That's a problem. Something has to change. And this could happen again. And something has to change on a broader scale. And the people at the top that have these enormous amounts of wealth have to sit and realize, although, you know, there's a term in sports like next man up. If he doesn't want to do it, somebody else will do it. And then that ties into the whole immigration argument, another topic for another video, although it does kind of tie in here. But something has to be done. If you can't afford to live in proximity to where you work, that's a problem. Don't set that bitch on fire. But somebody at the top, something has to be done. I kind of have a feeling that this might be suppressed, but I really don't think that this is anywhere close to the Luigi situation. But if you can't afford to live near where you work, it's a problem. It's not like these people are getting, extraordinary mansions in the hills and then commuting to Ontario or something like that. Bro, the man said, you should have paid us enough to fucking live. Like, think about those words, bro. Shit is crazy.
Again, allegedly was then pulled from by a witness from social media, and that's how they got their hands on it. We also know that the suspect was found about 2 miles away from the facility of where that fire broke out, and according to court documents, it doesn't appear he put up much of a fight, and even had mentioned one time, according to police, that he was confessing. But again, we'll break down more information about this press conference as the morning goes on. Reporting live this morning, I'm Rachel Aragon. I'll send it back to you.
Bro, this guy wanted to get caught. See, I didn't want to go down this path when I said this could be dark, but it's like if you remember his face, he's just over it. And when you're over it, it's like, look, I'm not in his mind, but let's just hypothesize for a second. What if he was just so fed up? He was so fed up of going to this goddamn job that wasn't going to increase his pay so he could live near where he works every day or 5 times a week, whatever, right? What if he reached a point where he's like, you know what? Fuck this place. Fuck my boss. Fuck the owner. And when you're that mad, even though you might kick it with your coworkers, fuck everybody in this bitch. What if he just said, you know what? Put me in jail. At least I won't have to work like a fucking dog, barely get by. And when I'm in that cell, even though I ruined my goddamn life, I won't have to pay rent. That's fucking dark. And it's like people up at the top, they need to pay attention to the way that the hardworking men and women, like you have to pay attention to them, shine a light on them and figure some shit out, right? I don't want to get too specific on California or, you know, who pays the most, but it's a high cost of living place. There's a reason why their Skid Row is over there. There's a reason why. Come on, bro. Let's not go down that path. Something has to be done. Holy shit.
Aggravated arson charge is something that the U.S. Attorney Bill O'Saley said they'll be focusing on. And how much prison time does that carry?
There's so many charges right now, right? But one thing they really zeroed in on was the economic damages. And I know for that charge alone could be anywhere from 10 years to life in prison. And again, that's just one charge, particularly as it relates, like I said, the damage that has been caused. So we're going to get more information. But as of right now, anywhere from 10 years to life.
It doesn't seem like he's that concerned in,
for one of the charges?
What you just said, what he revealed to investigators, but also putting that video out, which we showed.
Bro, it seems like he wanted to get caught.
Basically making it clear he's the one behind everything that transpired. So it looks like he was motivated and he really just wanted to do what he wanted to do and make a point.
It's fucked up.
And that's what the U.S. Attorney found so concerning. He says we're often seeing these trends or at least patterns of people who are almost boasting, if you will, on social media or other platforms about what they allegedly did. And because that's really concerning. So, yeah, definitely a lot of questions about that.
Yeah, more wanting to send a message.
Listen, I do not condone what he did. People that have these corporations, you have a lot of unhappy, disgruntled employees, men and women that sacrifice time away from their families to help your corporations push forward. You owe a lot of your fiscal year earnings and, you know, your revenue to the hardworking people in your organization that you just kind of don't really, it seems like you don't give a shit about them. And it's like, I do not condone this. This is not a Luigi thing. People need to not, people ought to look at this and say, man, I hope I don't get to that point. Do not follow what this guy did. This is terrible. This guy ruined his life. This guy ruined an entire organization. But it's thought provoking and it opens a lot of eyes and it gets the conversation going. It moves the needle a little bit. So all I have to say in conclusion is people at the top get together, sit down, talk amongst yourselves, and then figure out a plan moving forward, because there's people that are working at your company. They'll be there till they retire and they'll never be able to afford a home. Like, what are you doing? Like, what is really happening? What is really happening? You might have somebody that at your company that's been there for 20 years, 30 years. Can't even afford to live 30 minutes away from the building. What are you doing? Get together and have a conversation. Figure this shit out.